Are we ready?
Like that. Then
Hold on.
this will be the.
No.
Are we ready?
No.
Yeah, I'm waiting for pizza.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. If you'd please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. So I was going to wait till my report, but since I'm going to call on Madam Clerk, I'd like to introduce to you our newly appointed clerk, Monya Triplett. So if everybody would welcome Monya. And you can introduce yourself during your report,
Okay.
but I'm going to call on you for a roll call, please.
Okay.
Karen,
Sure.
I can't hear you back here. I don't think the mics are on.
Is that better?
Turn it up.
Is that better? At some point, it's going to start squeaking. You can hear us now? Okay.
Okay. Roll
Madam
call.
Clerk, roll call, please.
Terry, can you hear us, Terry?
The other side, you got both switches on?
Yep.
Testing. Hold it up.
It's-
just a little bit.
It's working here. Is it working on yours? Deb, can you say?
Check.
Pull that closer, Tom. Hello?
Check.
Is that okay?
Ours are on.
He said he gave a thumbs up.
We'll take a look at that.
Screen.
Alrighty, so Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes. Trustee Vert. Present. Trustee Carol Favdahl.
Present.
Treasurer Lisa Anderson.
Present.
Supervisor Miller.
Here.
Clerk Triplett here. Tom Clee.
Yes, ma'am.
And Deb Campbell.
Present.
Thank you. Do we have any additions or deletions to this evening's agenda? No? We'll move on. We'll have approval of the minutes. We have several to go through, and thank you for getting them done. I know there's a lot to do, but we'll take them one by one. So we have minutes from the Board of Trustees regular meeting, November 15th, 2021. Signify by the sign of aye if you approve the minutes.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed? Those stand approved. The minutes from the regular meeting, November 1st, 2021. All those in favor of approving those minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Thank you. The minutes from the budget workshop, October 27th, 2021. Those in favor of approving those minutes signify by aye.
Aye.
Same sign for no. Those pass. The special meeting, October 25th, 2021. All those in favor of approving those minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Those pass. The minutes from the regular meeting, October 18th, 2021. Signify by saying aye if you approve those. Aye. Those opposed? None. The minutes from the budget workshop, October 12th. Signify by saying aye if you approve. Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The regular minutes from October 4th, 2021. Signify by the sign of aye if you approve those minutes. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. And then our special meeting, October 4th. All those in favor of approving those minutes signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? None. We're through the minutes. We're on to presentations. We have two presentations this evening, and the first presentation is going to be with Gary Thorpe from Mott Community College.
Larry, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just give me the stack and I'll.
Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, here.
Thank you.
So yes, thank you very much. My name is Larry Gothrop, and I am the Chief Financial Officer at Mott Community College. Thank you for allowing me to come and speak to you this evening. All I want to do is kind of give you an update. I haven't been here in a couple of years, and just give you an update on where we're at and what we're doing, and answer any questions you may have. But I'm going to go through the presentation. I'm not going to go through it slide by slide. Please look at it at your convenience, and clearly, if you have any questions, Lisa knows how to get a hold of me, and Karen does as well. So let me just start. So the pandemic affected the college greatly, as you all know, and affected the entire state, the nation, the world, actually. But what we've done in our response is that you'll see that we've moved all of our learning online initially. We're starting to bring it back hybrid, and most importantly, I want you to know that we are open, that we are addressing the needs of the community, and we are offering a much more robust online offering in addition to our on-site or in-class offering as well. So as we continue to move through the pandemic and as it develops and progresses, we'll make adjustments as needed. But we are open, ready for business, and our enrollments, we're looking for our students we had about 3,000 students that have not come back from 2 years ago. And so we're on a mission to try to find them and try to contact them and see how we can help. So our locations, we have our Flint main campus, we have Southern Lakes, which is on Thompson Road, Northern Tier, we call it, it's in Clio. And then we recently sold our Livingston branch, which is in Howell. We tried to run academic programs at that facility, and it just never went. And Washtenaw has a big presence in that community as well, Washington Community College. So we were kind of fighting uphill on that. We found that it just wasn't working. The building was donated to us by the state of Michigan. We accepted it. We tried to make it a go. We tried all sorts of non-credit, career training programs, but it just was not working out for us. So some programs I want to highlight. Clearly, our nursing program is extremely highly regarded. It's at capacity. We're looking for ways to try to increase that as well, but we have issues with our current at U of M Flint, Baker, and Owasso now, us. These schools all have to have clinicals, so we have to have hospital space, and so there's where we run into some issues with that, but we are constantly working on trying to develop new relationships. Two exciting programs we have started. One is a it's a Consumers Energy Line Worker Program. So believe it or not, it seems that these trades come and go, right? Welding was 10 years ago, no one wanted to go into welding. Now welding's become huge again. Cosmetology saw a huge surge when we came back online. Our summer enrollment last year, the cosmetology program was an esthetician program, just skyrocketed. It was busting at the seams, actually. And now our line worker program, consumers is telling us that they don't have enough line workers. And we're finding this with all trades, as you may hear the same thing with building. All of the career trades seem to have been put on the back burner. Now there's a shortage of people, so we're trying to address that as well. Another one is mobility and bringing our programs to the people or to the students. We actually have I don't know if you've been down Court Street and by the college at all, or Longway actually, excuse me. There's a huge semi-tractor, and it's actually a lab, mobile learning lab. And so you'll see the tractor, it's got kickouts on it. It's for welding now, but we can use it for other applications as well. But this way we can take that trailer to an area and run the classes there. So that's another really, really exciting program, and I invite each of you to come down and see it. It's a really, really innovative way for learning. Our facilities, I'll spend a little time on this. We're continually updating our facilities, but we did we have the Culinary Arts School that came on our online about 4 years ago, right downtown Flint. If you haven't been down there, it was open for lunch. Fantastic program we have there. And then also the Lenore Crowdy Family Life Center was just opened this summer, actually August, and that will be a wraparound services for our students. So we're in the process of continually developing that as well. Athletics, our basketball team is rated #1 in the nation. I don't know if you've heard that or not, so that's something else that is really, really cool for the school. Tuition, constantly pressures on tuition. Last year we did not increase tuition. This year we increased it 1%. So we're still aware of the financial pressures that students have, that we're keeping our tuition low. And as you'll see in that graphic, when you get to it, if you have a chance, you'll see that we're about a third of the cost of the next available option of a four-year institution. We also offered a substantial amount of tuition support, the HERF funding that came in, which would be our HERF, which is CARES Act, all the federal stimulus dollars came in. There was a higher education component to each one of those, and we were able to help directly with students and also offer aid and write-offs of student accounts as well. So we were able to help in that way. And the final thing I want to highlight is in 2023, Mott Community College will be celebrating 100 years. So that's a really, really exciting thing for the school. And we hope that it's here for another 100 after that. So I thank you for your time again, and I'll answer any questions or take any comments that you may have.
Anybody have any comments? My son graduated from your police academy. How many times a year do you offer that?
We offer it twice a year, so fall and winter, yes. And that's it. Good, Karen, I like that, yeah.
It was a good program, very
Yeah.
good program. They had a lot of respect for the director.
Yeah, David Livingston, Lieutenant Livingston runs that program.
Job.
Yeah, well, thank you. I'll pass that along to him.
Thank you.
I'm a high school teacher here at Carmen Ainsworth, and in the past 4 weeks, we've had 2 of your advisors in, which they come in at least 2 times a year to speak to our business classes. I had him in for a whole day, and my partner in crime, 2 doors down, had him in as well. And he always does a great job.
Great.
He always does a great job.
Thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions? No? Comments? Thank you for being here this evening.
Okay, I appreciate it, thank you.
the information.
Okay, bye-bye.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
And then, is Danen Williams here? Danon? I didn't say it right. Danon, thank you for being here. You were asked, or it was mentioned during our DDA meeting, right, Tracy, that you made a presentation to, was it just the DDA, or was it the joint? EDC, sorry. The joint meeting. And so, you're here to speak to the trustees about your plans, your dreams too, about the
Right.
Pirates Park
Yes,
property.
very real plans, and dreams are phases like 3 through 11. Yeah, we're working on phase 1 of the Pirates Park plan is to get it back to where it was. So get the main building open again, mini golf, batting cages, try and start small, engage the community as much as we can to get them on property as soon as we can to start with the cleanup and rehab as we're looking for the bigger funders to do the $1 million on the main building kind of a thing, or $500,000 for the parking lot. But most of the other stuff, we can make it functional for a relatively small amount of money, and we're still pushing forward with that right now. I'm actually waiting to hear back from the property owners about an offer that we had countered. So progress is coming. Do you guys have any questions about what we're doing? I know some of you already had our little pamphlet, so I see like half of you are nodding. So we'll say, here's a couple.
Thank you.
One else.
Thanks.
Do
Do you ladies? Oh, I have one. Yeah.
We saw the presentation.
We're at the EDC meeting.
We have it.
Yeah, thank you, though.
Right, so this is our proposal. It's basically $2 million for the phase 1 plus property acquisition. Looking for different funders, and I guess for you guys more, I would like to talk about the positive impact for the community and the area that we're specifically trying to do. Are there any questions and concerns that you guys have? Or any curiosity, I suppose? It's not much of a start.
I don't have a question, but I do want to say
Yeah.
that I'm excited that you're taking on this endeavor. I think we were really excited when we had the opportunity to, look at it, but
Yeah.
it was just too costly for the township to.
Oh, sure. I would imagine looking at it from the perspective of like, can you, the township, singly do this? Then yeah. But that was never really the plan anyway. This is a thing that is so big. It is going to take a whole community to push it up. So we're looking for little things from the township of anything to help with some of the smaller like tax costs or any little bit of like property maintenance or cleanup type of like tangible, like achievable things. We're still working on like the big funding. We've got a few people lined up for that, and once we start getting them to fall in line, they're all gonna go. But because we are going to be such a part of the township, I mean, whether you like it or not, hopefully it'll work out really well for everybody, but we do want to make sure that we're on board with all of the plans that you have, because that's kind of what we're doing, is making all of our plans with the future in mind so that we can set things up now so that when we get there, they'll all be ready for us, and we'd like to be a part of what the township's got going on in general. One thing that had come up at that EDC meeting was the hope for a downtown. And it just, since then, I've been kind of thinking about it. And in a lot of ways, Pirates Park, what we would be able to do could be a downtown. There's a place, or just over the weekend in Flushing, their Candle Walk.
Right.
You know, and it's beautiful driving down the road with all the candles. It's not functional, you can't do anything with it. But if there was a walking trail, all filled with candles and lights, and we had vendors come in and they set up things and the kids were dancing, and like all of that parade event space that you want to do that's really bigger than any one thing or a garden, you have tons of space for that. Like, it would be an easy, it doesn't exactly solve your downtown problem, but we are looking in phases 2 and 3 to be putting in vendors and stuff, but I'm not allowed to talk about that yet because we're very focused on phase 1.
Do you have a target date when you're going to open?
I have a target date. My target date is next September. We'll see. It all depends on the money. That's really the question of, A, how quickly this happens, and how much we do at once is just a question of money. So if it's a little bit of money, it's taking longer. If we get more money, it comes quick. So there is plans in place where if we can find the funding, we can get started in the spring, do the construction that we need, open phase 1 in September. So that is still an attainable goal. We're just waiting on basically getting onto the property so we can start proper fundraising, because we're in a bit of a catch-22 as far as we need money to get on the property and we need property to get the money. But we've been wheedling the property owners, and I think they might crack.
Did you say you guys were doing a GoFundMe?
Yes, there is also a GoFundMe. We are looking to launch a Kickstarter where some of the, just for the expansion goals and that kind of thing in the near future too, to really draw the community in. The GoFundMe is nice, but it's just a kind of like an open call for cash, which nobody's a huge fan of. So with the Kickstarter, we're going to make them more involved and have their donations reflect, well, now you've gotten this much of a membership. You're getting this kind of a discount. Like you're pre-purchasing. We're trying to pre-sell the park with a Kickstarter.
Are you familiar with Patronicity, that if MEDC approves it, you'd get a match?
No, I haven't been on that one
That's-
yet.
I'll talk to Ken about it.
Okay.
Yeah, if we
But
can do
it's
a crowdfunding
Patronicity, yeah.
page with them, yeah.
Okay.
Through MEDC, but if you qualify, then you could get a match of a lot of money.
Okay. Oh, I think I've heard of that. I just keep forgetting the names of all the little acronyms of the different people. But yeah, I think we do kind of fall into what they're looking for and that kind of thing. And I guess the one question I had for the township was, I'd heard of things called like a Section 108 loan or something like that, where there are federal monies available to municipalities and everybody. But I mean, you guys would know if those things are even an option. But this is a project that will make money, but also make money for the community rather than just for us. So that's the plan for the difference it makes.
Any other comments or questions? I know that you have Tracy Tucker's contact information, so if there's questions or any, concerns or anything to look at, you can contact Tracy, and
Excellent.
she'd be able to help you with that. I know you'll need probably to be working with their building department too.
Yeah.
Great.
Mrs. Tucker, I was going to ask, could this property, if they were to acquire the property, could it potentially be brownfield where they could get, no?
No, because they're using it for the same thing that it was. And there's no cleanup
Repurposed.
on it to do, yeah.
Yeah, there's no gas or oil or anything like that.
Yeah, there's no, yeah, and the only other way they could do it was if it's an obsolete use, which they're using it for the same thing, so it's not an obsolete use. A good thought, but yeah, it wouldn't go.
All righty.
Thank you.
I have one more thing. I hope you come back throughout this journey
Oh,
and
sure.
let us know how things are going.
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
we'll keep you posted for sure. Yeah, I mean, we don't want to leave you guys out on the loop. Right? That's kind of what we're doing.
So right now, I know that they disconnected the water. I think I mentioned it to you last time. So take lots of pictures of the progress. That'd be
Oh,
fun.
yeah. If I had my way, we'd be doing an HGTV whole season on the rehab of it. And if you guys know anybody, let them know, because I think that would be a pretty good show. Right up their alley.
Looking forward to seeing and following with you.
Yep, excellent. All right, well, thanks for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
So at this time, we'll move on to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, I'd ask that you'd come to the podium and state your name, and you'll have 4 minutes to address the board. Hello, Dominic.
Good evening. Sorry, I was going to say good morning. It's been a long day. Genesee County Commissioner Dominique Clemens. Just wanted to provide you all a quick update on what's happening in the county. But first, a welcome and congratulations to Ms. Triplett as our new clerk. I'm excited to work with you here in the township. And what we're doing on the county, the biggest thing and the really one item that I wanted to bring up is 2 weeks ago at our last meeting, we did make a vote to purchase a new building, a new property for $8.5 million. There's been a lot of questions, and I wanted to clear up a little bit about that. So that $8.5 million building is the University of Michigan Tower next to the Huntington Bank downtown Flint. And that building will serve as the administration building for the county. And in doing that, we'll actually be consolidating 4 of the 16 buildings that the county currently operates. In total, and what some folks have seen in the paper is that is a total of a $29 million project. The $8.5 to buy the building as well as the cost to renovate it. And now while that is a big dollar amount and we are not a county that is flushed with money, some of the ways that we were able to make that happen first and primarily is a grant that we received from $10 million from the Mott Foundation that will completely cover the purchase of the building and portions of the renovations. Because it includes our health department, it'll also include some of our ARPA funding and then the money that we are planning to realize from the sale of the 4 other buildings. 3 of the 4 buildings we already have interest in for the sale of that will cover a big cost of that, which will then leave the county on the hook for a little bit of money, which we're estimating will be about $150,000 per year for about 7 years. So looking at the other options with that, our county administration building where it stands now was in need of dire repairs. If we did nothing, the do nothing option would have cost us $52 million over 5 years. $29 million is a lot less than $50 million, especially when we're getting these grants and able to use ARPA. The third option a lot of folks talked about was building a brand new facility. Every look of a cost at that was running $82 to $90 million for a project like that. So by us keeping our footprint downtown Flint, we found to be the most cost-effective way to continue to conduct business. But the other thing that we're considering is by consolidating several of our operations, it'll make things a lot easier for our residents, for the citizens of the county, creating a one-stop shop. If you need to go get a birth certificate, if you need to access the health department, if you are wanting to know where your board of commissioners are, it's all in one building. Right now we have a lot of folks that stop at the administration building, but they have to go down to Burton to the health department or across the street to the court for the clerk's office. It's all going to be in one place. Of course, with the exception of the actual courts, those buildings will remain, as well as the jail, animal control, things like that. But this consolidation is just one of many steps that we're looking forward to moving our county forward and looking at bringing county operations in line with the 21st century. The other quick thing to announce, I'm sure a lot of folks have seen, Commissioner Mark Young from the Grand Blanc area has announced his resignation from the board. And while it's not this community, we are going to be accepting applications to replace that county commission seat, which represents Grand Blanc and Atlas Township. We have 30 days from his resignation, which is effective on December 31st, to fill that seat. So we'll be actively looking at that. And also him serving as chair of the board means that in January we will be electing a new chair. Other than that, just want to wish everyone a happy holiday and just a reminder to everyone, working in government or not, that we really, in 2022, hope we can get back to a spot where we can restore our humanity and be able to look at each other, have conversations, disagree or agree, but recognize that we are all human beings and we all need to treat each other as such. Thank you.
Thank you, Dominic.
Can I ask one quick question?
Yeah.
Any update on the healthcare costs that the county?
Sure, so that's something that we are ongoing and continuing to look at. The two biggest pieces of that right now is the current injunction that is on for the retiree health care. So we have not made any changes to the health care benefits that any of our current retirees are getting. And we are moving forth with what we're calling a healthcare coalition, which includes our labor unions, their different contracting units, as well as the retirees that are active in our retirees would mirror healthcare, and that would be driven by this coalition. We are looking for ways to realize some savings in our healthcare, but the commitment that this board makes, and I can imagine every board in the future, is that we want to make sure that our retirees do have access to quality and affordable healthcare. There might need to be some changes to be made as far as which the provider is, but we want to make sure that everyone's getting the access to the same benefits.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board?
Good evening,
evening.
Madam Supervisor, officers, trustees. My name is Mary Hood. I'm a resident of the city of Flint. However, I'm an attorney referee for Genesee County. I was appointed by the Chief Judge of the Circuit Court to serve in this capacity 19 years ago. Recently, I made a decision to run for Circuit Court Judge. But before I get into that, because I am a family court referee, I need for you all to know that we're very much aware of the current climate in the schools. Not just Carmen Ainsworth. I spent this afternoon and we will be spending a lot of time dealing with school threats. I want to offer my condolences, heartfelt, because I know what it's like to receive a call regarding a child who's accused of killing multiple people. I have gotten one of those calls before, and I know what that is like. I offer my condolences to the parents in Oxford, to the entire community, our neighbors. It is a sad time for them, and their lives are forever changed. But that's the reality for us in juvenile division. We are taking every single threat seriously. I cannot speak about specific cases, but we're getting a lot. They're coming through. I do not believe that our children should be in school and feel unsafe. So I do take those threats very seriously. As I mentioned, I decided I was going to run for Circuit Court Judge several weeks ago. About a week later, I asked myself, why? Because I have to have a reason. It has to be a legitimate reason. It has to be true to who I am as a person for me to embark on such an endeavor. And I asked myself, I said, well, are you doing it for the money? My answer, well, we don't have a whole lot, but we have everything we need. And I have enough of what I want at this point in life. So no, it's not because of the money. Am I doing this for the status, to be called a judge? No. People, I wear a robe every day to work. I'm a referee. Most people think I'm already a judge. You know, I do correct them. I'm not taking credit for something I'm not. But, it's not for the notoriety. I believe that it's necessary. I come with 19 years of experience. I was appointed 19 years ago. I have been presiding over custody, parenting time, child support, child abuse and neglect, delinquency proceedings. Referees get the calls in the middle of the night after working 8 to 5. We'll get a call in the middle of the night and make a decision as to whether or not to remove a child from a particular situation or detain a child for a particular reason. Those are referees that are doing that. So I have trained for this position for 19 years. And I believe it's a win-win situation. The county gets gets an experienced jurist, and I get my promotion. So if you have any questions for me, I would be happy to answer them at this time.
Will you have something, contact information?
I can be reached at the referee's office. We don't carry business cards right now. Therefore, I don't know. They think that we probably don't want people to know how to find us, but we don't carry business cards. But you can find me at the referee's office at the Genesee County Circuit Court building. If any of you ever want to sit down and have a cup of coffee and let's talk about what's going on, just feel free to call me. It's really easy to reach me, okay?
Okay.
I appreciate you all and what you do, and thank you for your time, okay?
Thank you very much.
You look familiar, like you may be a graduate from
Flint Northern class of 1981. I knew you as Manya Weems, and you knew me as Mary Thomas.
Absolutely. We're in marching band.
Congratulations.
We were in the marching band together.
Oh, yeah, 3 years of marching band. Yes.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any, Mr. Roberts?
My name is Gerald Roberts, 4487 Lindywood Drive. I kind of want to talk about transparency. I know we have a new clerk in here now, temporarily, in other words, appointed. But in the last meeting, Mr. Klee tried to use a form of transparency with regard to recommending somebody for this clerk's temporary position. And he's made the suggestion that maybe we should open it up to about a week, I think he said, with regard to maybe having other people come in and see their qualifications as to what would be suitable for that particular position, and then let the board make a decision after all those particular people were there. I talked to one of the trustees here about this, and the thought was that because of Ms. Triplett being running for this particular office and putting a lot of money into the campaign, that she was the most qualified person to do that. I have a tendency to disagree with that, because if I was, which I did run for trustee and there was an opening there, that I would then in turn, because I put money into the campaign, be automatically shoo-in for that particular job. That's just my views. The other thing is, and I have nothing with regard to complaints about the appointment and for you, Ms. Triplett, for that particular position, okay? I just wanted to see transparency. The other thing I want to talk about transparency was with regard to the township name change. It seems to me that we need transparency in that too. Ms. Miller's husband, Mr. Preston, basically went and solicited a person with the representatives to open up the name change because it wasn't on the books in the state of Michigan. The transparency there to me is that it came from somebody that wanted a name change. In other words, in the township here. And then in turn, Mr. Preston was appointed chairperson for that particular committee to study this. Seems like in the last time that we had something with regard to the vagrancies here, Mr. Preston was made chairperson for that particular committee too. I think that we need transparency here, and I think we need transparency in that the point is that somebody else should be maybe taking those particular positions rather than a husband and a wife, because she's a supervisor, appointing that particular person to be the chairperson. We need some transparency there. And the transparency is that somebody here ultimately has an agenda that they want to get the name changed for Flint Township. We need to study how much it's going to cost for the stationery, all of the signs that have to be changed, everything with regard to this. How much money in taxpayers' money is going to make this change, name change? There's an ultra underlying theory here that I can see that they want a name change. And where is it coming from? The only thing I can look at is the supervisor. She says it's transparent. I don't see that it's transparent. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Roberts. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? No? Then we'll move on to reports. Well, I was going to welcome Dominic Clemens, but he spoke already, and I wanted to say we're glad to have you here. Thank you for being willing to serve. I wanted to just also mention in what was stated earlier, from the time that the clerk, Kathy Funk, previous clerk, had mentioned that she was going to be resigning, not one person let me know that they would be interested in the position. Not anyone from this board, not anyone in this building, not anyone in our community let me know that they had an interest in serving in this position, except one person. Anyhow, we felt that after looking at the Red Book that we could have either taken letters of interest, but based on our attorney's urgent pleas with me, you gotta find someone quickly. The Red Book is published by MTA, and it gives us guidelines on how we do our jobs and what our responsibilities are. That it wasn't required that we would take letters of interest, and it wasn't required that you would pick the person who came in second, which obviously was Manya Triplett. So if the board had voted favorably to take letters of interest and pass the first motion made by Trustee Klee, we would have done that. It failed. We had a motion to appoint Manya Triplett, so we did so. And the last thing that was mentioned, and I just want to say this, is as far as the name change, I want to mention that the committee's going to meet next Monday here at 6 p.m. Anyone in the township is welcome to come to that committee meeting. After the committee meets, they're going to report to the DDA, and I'm imagining that those people who attended the first committee meetings, which there was about 100 to start in those committees, we met here. Anyhow, I imagine that they'll show up and have the same position or to recommend a name change. It'll go to the DDA. The DDA is going to look at that, and we talked about and we've budgeted for a study to be done by the same people who did the Pure Michigan campaign. At that point, the DDA, one way or another, would make a recommendation to this board. This board, by a 2/3 vote, would have to vote. I think it's a 2/3 vote, if I remember correctly. And then after that, the vote is to put it on the ballot. It's the residents who get to choose whether or not we are going to change the name. And for the record, I don't care one way or another. I like the name Flint, and I like the history behind it. And I wouldn't care if we change the name either. So either way, 50-50 toss-up, flip a coin. So I have no hidden agenda, but someone has to do the work. My husband doesn't vote, and I think he's done a good job on those two committees. If you'd like to head up a committee, Mr. Roberts, you can let me know, and we'll have you on the next committee. We will take all the volunteers we can get. That's my report this evening. Madam Clerk, do you have a report this evening?
Other than to mention water and sewer information, I believe, was put in the packets. And I'd just like to say thank you for everyone that came to the meeting. And I'm looking forward to working with the community and with the board to help keep our community in an upswing. And hopefully, if any of you have any questions or would like to meet with me, that is not a problem. My door is always open, and I'm here. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Treasurer, do you report this evening?
Just that taxes became due December 1st, so those tax bills should be hitting your home sometime this week if you have not received that already. And they will be due February 28th. March 1st, they will be turned over to the county. So look out for your nice tax statement.
Are there any trustee reports this evening? I'll start on this end. Trustee Vert, Trustee Fafdahl, Trustee Klee.
I do have a couple of things. First of all, I want to touch base on what you talked about and this young lady to my left. Yes, I did ask that we look at it openly, but in the meantime, in the last, 8 days, you and I have spent few hours together in conversations and telephone, and I'm looking forward, as she said, I'm looking forward to work with her. I've already told her, don't hesitate to call on me, and I'll help her in any possible way I can, and look forward to making sure that the 7 of us work as a team across the board. You folks sitting out there, looking up here, I'm a soul. I'm not I don't want to call it a sole survivor, but I'm the luckiest guy in the world because you guys aren't sitting with 6 ladies that I have the pleasure of being with in this respect. So it's kind of a neat operation for me. So I'm looking forward to continuation.
Thank you.
That wasn't too, okay. I didn't want it to be that. But on the other side of the coin, I want to talk about, if I may, I'm wearing blue and gold today. We were supposed to wear blue and gold on Friday. Not supposed to, we were asked. Our student council, and I don't often speak about things of Carmen Ainsworth, and I don't mean any disrespect, but I'm going to take the floor. I have a blue and gold ribbon on right now. We had the pleasure, negotiating last week, the day after, and it was hard. Wednesday was a real hard day. Thursday was a tough day. And judge leave, she did.
Referee.
Referee, I'm
She's
sorry,
not
she's not judge.
Can I jump in for a second?
Take
We'll
me.
give you a second here.
Yes, ma'am.
So my grandson goes to Carmen Ainsworth Junior High, and when we had found out that they had had threats too, which a lot of schools had had threats, and I was happy that I could talk to Chief Salter for a few minutes about it, and he did inform me that that's actually Monday Township, so bad on me that I was thinking it was Flint Township because I live so close, but you know, it's really, it's just, it's so terrifying for the students, for all of us, for the people that love our, whether we know the kids or not. It's just, it just gives you the chills to think about it. But I have to say, I know that Kevin would have, if he could find out anything and if they could track it down, you know, I'm confident that he would let us know as soon as he had knowledge about it, which was comforting to me to know that I could call and ask him about it, and he would keep us informed. So that's not a report, but a thank you to Chief. So
Thanks. Thanks. Every day I walk in there, and my intent is to send your prized possession home in the same or better state that you sent them to me. And my heart goes out to the staff down there, and we actually, when it happened, we have a young man that used to teach in our building for 10.5 years, a special ed teacher, and he lives in South Lapeer. It's closer for him to go to Oxford than it is to come to CA after all that time, and he got a job there 3 years ago. He was 3 rooms down the hall, and a bunch of us were texting him, of course. His teaching partner, which my teaching partner is like as close as I can be, and then she let us all know that he was fine. He was very shaken up, and their room was locked down as you saw it. Kevin sends the most wonderful people every day into our building, and you guys are supportive of it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to be emotional. I'm a guy, I'm not supposed to cry, but you guys know I do. Wednesday and Thursday were tough. Today was a good day. Today was a great day. We had 89% attendance. However, we did have 7 teachers out, and they were out not for connections to this, that situation. So I just wanted to, I wrote something here, but, so I'm good with that. Also, I passed out a calendar that Monty and I were working on, Karen and I, and it's a tentative calendar. If you look real close at it, you can see draft across it in invisible ink. But I'm asking that the board members, the head officers, other board member chairs, look at the dates, see if there's things that I screwed up, missed up a date, tried to conform it to all the changes from 2021 to 2022 to make sure these dates were right. And there are some questions or not why this date was moved or this this or that. So please understand you can, shut up, Google. Understand that you can give it back to me, make red ink marks on it, and give it back, and I'll
In
make
the
adjust-
next week, because then the following, it's going to be due to the clerk's office
Yes.
to be put in the board packet. So we'll
Correct.
vote on next year's calendar at the next meeting.
Okay.
Sound good?
Yep. Thank you for
Great.
letting me have a minute.
Sure. Thank you. And now we'll move on to staff reports. Chief Salter?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. I won't mention the Oxford because everybody knows about it, and I know the way everybody feels about it, so. Since November 15th, your PD's responded to about 87 calls per day, which is about 1,800 over that. In addition to that, 160 traffic stops, 139 business checks, and about 70 residence checks. So of course, as I say, I've been saying the last few weeks, it's going down slowly because it's getting colder out, which is good for the police and for the community. The fire department, ours is sort of going down, theirs is going up a little bit. They're actually at 74 alarms since the last one, which is over 3 per day, which is 3 extrications, 2 from vehicles and 1 from a house where a tree fell on it. Included in that total is 3 different mutual aid calls for different jurisdictions to assist them. As you can see by the stubble on my face, we started our 3rd annual Beers for Kids. And our police department raised over $1,200, which we're going to donate. We worked with the school system and are going to find a family in need and donate it. Which is our 3rd time, and it seems like it's gotten higher every year, which is good.
And well received, too.
Yes. Also, your police department, fire department, the senior center, and Matrix Company, we all teamed up and gave away over 50 Thanksgiving turkeys at the senior center before Thanksgiving. Of course, I want to give a big shout out to Matrix, who are the ones that donated the turkeys. And that concludes my report. I have 2 agenda items tonight.
Thank you very much. Mrs. Tucker?
Just wanted to mention we have the elf hunt going on now through December 17th at 39 different locations. We're going to register for prizes and to win the major awards. If you go into the locations, snap a selfie of yourself with either the display or the elf, and then post it to Facebook at Flint Township Events and hashtag 2021 Elf Hunt DFT for Discover Flint Township. You'll have a chance to win the major awards. Those were sponsored by Toddler Country Cafe, Bishop International Airport, Gazelle Lewis and Associates, Twisted Burger, and Maxwell Therapy donated the major prizes. And then sponsoring the event itself is Discover Flint Township, Shea Automotive Group, HAP Empowered, Dort Financial, Genesee County 911, 4D Systems, and Northgate. So we had a couple new sponsors that jumped on board to help out. We are having an elf convention from noon to 3 at Shea Automotive Group, where Santa and Mrs. Claus will be there to gather their elves to take them back to the North Pole and take the letters to Santa from the kids that will let the kids fill out while they're there that morning. There will be coffee and hot cocoa and some treats for the kids. The Santa, we hear, might be riding on one of our fire trucks, so that'll be cool. And we're going to have an elf army on hand. So they are called Joy's Elf. As elves, the volunteers for Salvation Big Red Kettle. It's their match days going on, so they'll be there as well. And we are encouraging children and adults alike to dress as an elf to come out to the event. And there will be a special prize for the best dressed elves. So have all kinds of chances. So that's what we got going on in the community. Carol has done a great job getting the locations. We have 39 locations that are participating that people can go to. People can go to our events page on @Flint Township Events. And there's an interactive map on there where they can find the locations and where to register for prizes. Like I said, that's going on for the 2 weeks. Also, we had our second public information meeting this evening. We had a few people show up. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Seabird, for your support and showing up to the meeting. And we had a few other people come as well from the boards themselves, so that was nice. And so our requirements for that are complete, and I have a few items on the board tonight, so I've
Thank
talked
you.
enough, probably.
And I just wanted to say thank you to Santa's helpers, Trustee Carol Fefdahl and Annette Marks. I know that there was a lot of work going into planning that, the fun activity with all the elves, and I know that you and Annette went and delivered all those bags to all the different businesses. So thank you very much for the work that you did, and thank you, Annette. I appreciate it. We're gonna have to get you a Santa's hat. So, committee report. I think we have one report. John, did you want to report on anything from Road Advisory?
Good evening, Board. I'm John Whiteside. I'm on the Road Advisory Committee, as you all know. Ms. Triplett is new. I welcome her. You'll probably hear from me periodically. We had our last meeting November 22nd, which was after your last board meeting. And in that meeting, I've got a little bit of information that I'd like to give you. Our 2021 projects, which is through road millage funds, 50/50 funds, block grant funds, they were completed, and I'll tell you what they were. It was North Utley Road, Corona Road to Hogarth, the intersection of River Birch and River Valley, Dorellen from Corona Road to Court, Bailey from Noble Avenue to Roslyn, and then off of Beecher Road area, we had Hillside and the West Terrace. And I talked with Mike Pfeiffer today, and the commercial districts that were done, which really isn't anything the Road Advisory Committee deals with, that's more through Tracy and the DDAs. But Exchange and Commerce were done, Lincor, Mansour, and Taft, those were all done. Lincor, I already said that. Neredia Street, which is a section off of Lennon Road, that's through the commercial area. And the Market was off of Bristol Road. And Mike said Holiday is almost completed, but they had some delays, so that won't be completed. They'll have to work on that next year. Also, Austin Parkway was supposed to be done this year, but because of some delays, Mike said that'll probably be done early next year in spring. So our 2022 projects is what we had a discussion on from previous meetings. We've talked about a lot of different projects. And the ones that we want to try to make sure we get on next year's plan is Lavelle Road, and that's from Flushing Road to Pasadena. Even though we've had some discussion in our last meeting, maybe only doing part of that because of funding. Mackin Road from Lavelle Road to the city limits. Concord Street is west of Lavelle Road, so that's all up in that area. We try to group our projects in the same area. But that's provided that street can be added to the block grant funds. I believe the supervisor was checking on that. Graham Road is one we've talked about from Court to Corona. And you want to attack a road and get it fixed before it gets in real bad shape. And this has been on our plan for a couple of years, keeps getting pushed back. And that may be another way, that one may get pushed back again, maybe Crack Seal will take care of that and be further down the road. The other sections of roads we talked about, there's 7 of them here, and these at our last meeting most likely would be moved on to 2023. That's Staunton Drive, Sawgrave, Dixon, Wheatland, Norris, Mount Vernon Pass, and Monticello. That's all in the same area. That group we've talked about in the past, but that's probably getting moved down. The Flagstone Point subdivision special assessment, they have approached or are approaching the township on a special assessment for that subdivision. Some of those funds that the township's responsible for would come out of road millage. So that is in future discussion. There's still some money owed on Linden Creek Parkway, and that is part of our discussion. We also have another special assessment was Charter Oak, and my understanding is that's in the preliminary stages. That's something that may be coming. We had some complaints about Ramsgate, which is a road off of Calkins down to the apartments. It's real bad, and we're going to try to put that in next year's plan. And then we also have the River Valley near Diplomat repair. It needs to be done. So we will have a lot of money to work with, but Lavelle, Mackin, those are quite expensive projects, and it's trying to move the funds around and get the best bang for our dollar. So the committee will meet again next week, and hopefully we can have a project plan to bring to the board either at the last December meeting or early January. And that's about what I got, and we do have an opening on the committee. We're one member short. So if anybody knows anybody who wants to be a road committee member. So that's kind of what we deal with, trying to take a huge list of roads and shrink them down to something we can put in our plan.
You didn't mention it's volunteer.
And it's volunteer.
Thank you very
And
much.
our committee does a great job. We go out, we look at the roads. Mike Pfeiffer's a real asset to us in the county, and try to take all that information and come up with a plan that you guys will be happy with. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Move on to number 9, Madam Treasurer.
Yes, trustees should have received copies of the invoices and the disbursements via your emails. So a motion is in order to acknowledge payment of the invoices and the disbursements in the amount of $2,070,175.63.
Is that your motion?
Yes.
Is there a second to the motion?
Clee would support that.
Any further discussion, any questions for Madam Treasurer? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on paying the bills and disbursements in the amount of $2,070,175.63.
Trustee Carol Favell?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
And Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Triplet, yes. Tom Clee?
Yes, ma'am.
And Ms. Campbell?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Number,
Burt.
oh,
Trustee Burt,
I'll
I'm
say
sorry.
yes.
No,
I apologize.
I apologize.
You're fine.
All set?
Getting
We're going
warmed
to pay
up.
the bills.
Yep.
Number
Getting warmed
10,
up.
you mentioned, Madam Clerk, that there is correspondence information for the trustees, the letter from the county on water rates, right?
Yes.
You got that?
Yep.
And under old business, let's see. Cost recovery, Chief Salter.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. In your packet, there's a few different items. The first one is a fee schedule. Working with the fire department, we updated our fee schedule. Back in July 5th of this summer, the board approved an amendment to our budget where we can charge the at-fault driver of non-residents of our township. A lot of times, the police department and the fire department have spent a lot of times on our roads and highways dealing with accidents for transient people or transient cars. They don't live in this township, but yet they drain valuable resources from our community, i.e. our police and our fire, and deal with the situations where they are at fault in accidents. This fee schedule is, I researched different companies, I worked with the fire department about it. The different charges we have, these are the charges that they recommend charging the insurance companies. A lot of times that's what it comes down to. That's why the change in a fee schedule is the first part of this.
Your recommendation is for us to approve this, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Motion is in order to do so.
Clee would move that we accept Chief Salter's recommendation and support from the fire department for this cost recovery fee schedule.
Is there a second to the motion?
Campbell, a second.
Go ahead.
Any questions for Chief Salter? No, hearing none. Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on approving the proposed cost recovery fee schedule.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Triplet, yes. Mr. Clee?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
And Mrs. Burt?
Yes.
And Carol Favell?
Yes. Okay.
Thank you, Board. And continue on for old business is for the board to approve Supervisor Miller signing a contract with Fire Recovery Services, Fire Recovery USA LLC. Among the different companies that we researched to do the cost recovery, where they actually will bill the insurance company, they take care of all the billing. This is the one I was recommended from a different fire department on the west side of the state and talking to different people. It seemed like they're the most professional business that we've dealt with and talked with over the phone. They answered our needs or answered our questions when we had questions for them. I had our township attorney, Peter Goodstein, look over the contract. He had a few questions which they answered, and he approves, or he looked at the contract. Is it okay with it too? So I'd like the board to make a motion to approve signing this contract. The good thing with this contract too, it's a 30-day termination fee, or termination. So if you do not like the service that they provide us, we can give them a 30-day notice and terminate the contract.
So a motion is in order to approve the proposal.
We would move to follow up the first one with the cost recovery proposal and accept the suggested company, Fire Recovery USA LLC.
Is there a second to the motion?
Support.
Any questions for Chief Salter on the proposal?
Thank you.
Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on approving the cost recovery proposal.
Okay.
Agreement for
Supervisor
services.
Miller?
Sorry. Yes.
Okay, Triplett, yes. Mr. Clee?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Byrd?
Yes.
Mrs. Spadall?
Yes.
And Treasurer Anderson.
Yes.
What's the second on that?
Carol.
CPD.
Okay, that's what I,
Thank you, Board.
Thank you. So at this point in time, we'll do the public hearing for our 2022 budget. If you'd like to say anything in regards to the budget and only the budget, I'd ask that you'd come to the podium and give your name and address and speak specifically on the proposed budget before we vote on it. Anybody? One more time. If anyone would like to speak during the public hearing for the 2022 budget, please come to the podium and you'll be heard by the board. I'm not sure what time we opened it. Did you catch the time?
7.
7 and,
7 and 7:01.
is it 7? And it's now 7:01. Anybody? All right. We don't have anybody to speak during the public hearing. We'll move on to action item A. Mrs. Tucker?
We do have Mike here from Communities First to speak on this. This is a letter of support, or a resolution of support they're requesting from the Township Board for their project on Flushing Road. Mike, did you want to speak?
Good evening, honorable trustees, Madam Clerk, Madam Supervisor, Madam Treasurer. Thank you for having me. My name is Tracy. Thank you as well. My name is Mike Wright. I'm with Communities First, Inc. I'm here requesting a resolution of support for Orchard Grove Apartments. Quickly, I'll just tell you my organization, Communities First, Inc. Our mission is to build healthy, vibrant communities through affordable housing, economic development, and innovative programming. This development, Orchard Grove Apartments, is located at 2765 Flushing Road. So it's on Flushing Road, right by Ballinger Highway, North Ballinger Highway by McLaren Hospital. It's currently a vacant lot. It's a new construction of 40 apartment units, affordable housing, mixed income apartment units. We are applying to the county for home funds. It's the last funds we need to start the project. Again, 40 apartment units. So we're requesting a resolution of support. This is required for our home application to the county.
Thank you. Do we have any questions in regards to the resolution that Mr. Wright could answer for us? No? No questions?
No questions, but I do love everything that you guys have done so far.
Thank you.
The last project is right next door to the church where I
Berkeley Place?
attend. Yes.
Yes, great.
Very nice, so
It is
Thank you.
very beautiful.
we're excited that this is coming.
Yes. Thank you all.
No further questions, so a motion would be in order to approve the resolution of support.
Anderson would make the motion to approve the resolution of support as presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Thank you. Any comments or questions before we vote? None? Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on approving the resolution of support as presented.
Anya Triplett, yes. Mr. Clee?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Byrd?
Yes.
Mrs. Spadall?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
And Mrs. Miller.
Yes. Okay. You can do this one, or do you want me to do it? Oh, okay, I'll do it. All righty. Action item B is the, oh, I skipped it. Tax reverted properties. You have, it was late in front of you. You have a list from the county treasurer's office of the foreclosed properties, and we have first right of refusal. It went through 2 of their auctions. The first auction was at the end of summer for a minimum bid, and then in the fall there was a 0 bid. And these are the properties that are still at the county treasurer's office, and they're going to be heading to the land bank unless we show interest in it. And I talked with the assessor, and both you and I did, and there was nothing that we could use for public interest. I know that there's a couple properties on here. The one, I think it's the one on Pasadena, that the land bank work with the treasurer to sell to the owners. There's several owners inside that old church, and they'll make a contract with the land bank. But anyway, a motion would be in order to approve the resolution declining these properties, please.
Anderson makes the motion to object the acceptance of the tax reverted properties list as presented.
Okay, is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Any questions? No further discussion? Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the resolution to decline the properties.
Mr. Clee?
Yes.
And Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Byrd?
Yes.
Ms. Fasdawn?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
And Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Triplett, yes.
Thank you. Action item C, Madam Treasurer, did you want to speak on that?
This is for the Community Development Block Grant. What we are seeking is authorization to change the signers for those individuals that are able to access the funds from the grant. So this is making, with the resignation of Clerk Kathy Funk and the board approval appointment of Clerk Bonnie Triplett, we would like to make that change to the,
That's your motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Clee would support that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, to approve the change in the CBDG authorized signers.
Okay, we have Mrs. Campbell,
Yes.
Mrs. Byrd,
Yes.
Mrs. Fasdawn.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Triplett, yes. Mr. Clee?
Yes.
Thank you. Action item, where are we? D
You're writing.
is the resolution for Flint Township to opt out of Public Act 152 of 2011 for the year 2022. If the board, let's see, if the board chooses not to opt out of the township will be required to follow the act guidelines. So a motion is in order to opt out, if that's what the board wants to do.
We would move that the township follows the past few years and vote to opt out of Public Act 152 for the year 2022.
Is there a second to the motion?
support.
Is there any discussion on this? Any comments? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the resolution to opt out of Public Act 152 of 2011.
Mrs. Campbell?
Yes.
Mrs. Byrd?
Yes.
Mrs. Favdahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
And Mrs. Triplett, yes.
Thank you. Action item
Tom
E.
Clee?
Oh,
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
sorry. I
Sorry.
jumped the
Slow down.
gun. Sorry about that, Tom.
Good.
Action item E, Mrs. Tucker.
This is the draft of the Beecher Road CIA budget that has been approved by their board, and they're just looking for the township board's approval before it can go back to them to be adopted. And it does have, as you asked on the other ones, that the public safety funds be given back to the township. That has been incorporated.
So a motion would be in order to approve the Beecher Road CIA 2022 budget as presented.
Clee would move for that.
Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. Any questions for Mrs. Tucker? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the Beecher Road CIA 2022 budget.
Trustee Vert?
Yes.
Trustee Favdahl?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
Yes.
Supervisor Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Triplett, yes. Trustee Clee?
Yes.
And Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Thank you. Action item F is our 2021 budget amendments. Our controller, Kevin McIntyre, is here. He's gone through the budget for the end of the year, 2021. I know there's a lot more work to do, closing out 2021. But before we get to the end of the year, we have to make some amendments to make sure that we stay positive in all these different line item budgets. The line items in the budget. So a motion would be in order to approve the amendments as follows, and you have the listing of what's necessary to amend, what line item and by how much. A motion would be in order to move forward.
Clee would move to accept Controller McIntyre's hard work in establishing these transfers as necessary.
Is there a second to the motion? Do we need to list the amendments
That's what I was gonna ask. Yeah.
individually?
I don't think it has to be individual, but you definitely have to tell it what department for each one of them.
You want to read the
The
motion?
motion that's
Yeah, I would say
in the
okay.
packet.
All right.
The motion that's in the packet.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
I was wondering if I had to read every single one.
Yep.
All right, bear with me. I'm requesting that the Township Board approve the above listing budget amendments at the December 6th Township Board meeting. Quote, Kevin McIntyre, to approve the amendments to the 2021 budgets for additional expenditures in the general fund. Department 101 for $1,500. In the general fund, Supervisor Department 171 for $400. In the general fund, Elections Department 191, $24,600. In the general fund, Professional Services Department 210 for $39,000. In the general fund, Civil Service Department Department 220 for $2,700. In the general fund, Accounting Department number 224 for $9,500. In the general fund, Treasurer's Department number 253 for $14,000, and in the Municipal Street Fund for $800, per, again, Controller Kevin McIntyre.
We have a motion. Is there a second to the motion?
Anderson supports.
We'll open it up for questions. Are there any questions or comments?
Appreciate the work that he's done, and we've all kind of been working hard trying to figure this out.
There's no comments? No questions? Madam Clerk, roll call, please, on the 2021 budget amendments.
Yes, Trustee Fabdo.
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson.
Yes.
Mrs. Miller.
Yes.
Mrs. Triplett, yes. Mr. Clee.
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell.
Yes.
Mrs. Burt.
No.
Okay, all set. We move on to action item G, and before we get there, I want to thank Kevin for staying through the meeting. It was the last item on the agenda, but we have our 2022 budget, the General Appropriations Act resolution. And so we passed this out at our last meeting as a draft. I asked anybody who was, well, let me back up. We had 2 special meetings where we had workshops, and we went through the budget department by department, and we looked at anything that stood out to us. We didn't go through line by line, but we made cuts and adjustments where we could. So from the workshop, we had the draft go out at our last meeting, and anybody was welcome to come and ask questions and speak with the controller on any concerns or comments that they had. And here we are tonight. No one spoke at the public hearing, and we're looking at a motion to pass to vote on approving the 2022 General Appropriations Act, our budget. So a motion would be in order to move forward.
Clee would move to accept the General Appropriations Act resolution for 2022 for the Township of Flint, as presented.
Is there a second to the motion?
Second.
You make-
I second.
Alrighty, so we have a motion and a second. Are there any comments or questions, concerns, anything you wanted to say regarding the budget before we vote?
I would like to make a comment regarding the budget. There's still much work to do. We realize that there is a lot of work to do with the budget. A lot of hard decisions are going to need to be made in the future because we realize that we're adopting a negative budget, a deficit budget. But we are committed to making sure that we right-size this somehow. We know that we've just been on a rocky road, it seems like, for the last 5 years, almost, with the market crash and those kind of things, and just trying to get back to the level of where we were. So we're having to make some cuts that we don't like to make, but it's necessary, and we know that we need to start earlier next year to see what we can do to do a better job with this budget. It's been tough, very tough.
I would add too that I totally agree. There's got to be some changes because this upside down budget is not okay. That's not how most of us operate at home, and it's not being fiscally responsible to have it go on for a lot of different things that we'd like to have, but financially, we don't have the money to do a lot of things we'd like to do. That's it.
So I agree 100%. You can't operate on a negative or deficit budget year after year. But I will say this. We knew back in 2000 and I bought my house in 2008. It was, I moved in November of 2008, and the next month I owned a house. I owed more than it was worth. And in 2009, our revenue for our general fund was about $12.8 million. And if you look at this, we dropped almost $3 million. We're at anticipating $10.8 million in revenue next year, which, I mean, we dropped, and I don't know how long it's been at in the $10 million range, but I'm going to say at least since 2011 or 12. So we really have not increased our revenue since then. And unfortunately, the cost of doing business, I mean, people get raises, health insurance goes up, longevity increases for our employees. We have less employees now than we did then, and it's a matter of juggling. So when the market crashed, we made cuts, and we were able to build up our fund balance to $5 million. And here at the end of 2021, the actual amount in our fund balance was $4.1 million. Between the revenue that we take in and the fund balance that we have, if we can balance our budget, we're good with the state. If we did not have a fund balance, the state would be coming in. So we're looking at passing this budget with, for 2022, at $10,855,704 in revenue. And where our expenditures are anticipated to be $11,827,980. So we're looking at spending a bit over, almost $1 million over. But I'll say two things. One is this is projections. It's not actual. So it's hard to tell here in December what we're going to spend by the end of next December. That's one. And two, I know that there are some ARPA funds that we're going to be granted that's going to help us recoup loss in this budget. So it won't, this deficit won't be as bad next year as it is what we're looking at today. So I do understand we've got to make changes. We need more revenue because I don't know that the expenses are going to go down. Anyhow, with that said, does anyone else have anything they want to add to the discussion here before we vote on the 2022 budget? No? All right, so Madam Clerk, can you take the roll call on the resolution, the 2022 General Appropriations Act resolution, please?
Clerk Triplett, yes. Mr. Cleave?
Yes.
Mrs. Campbell?
Sitting up there.
Mrs. Burt?
No.
Mrs. Favdahl?
Yes.
Mrs. Anderson?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes. How many, there was one no? Two?
Yes,
One
one no.
So it passed. So we move on to, Kevin, thank you for being here. I thought we were putting you in the hot seat, but I guess it wasn't.
It wasn't too hot today.
Thank you for staying. Appreciate it. Number 14 are announcements. Again, I wanted to mention that if anyone is interested in attending the one and only meeting that is going to be held with our community, our residents, for the suggestion name change committee meeting, it will be next Monday, December 13th. Is that the 13th already? Next Monday? Yeah. December 13th at 6 p.m. in this room. And we'd ask that you be a resident. I mean, those are the people be interested.
Or a business owner?
Or business, well, yes, a business owner can give us their input, but unfortunately, the way the law was written, the only people who can vote are residents.
Yep.
But yes, business owners are more than welcome. So if there's no further business and without objection, we can call this meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. At work or at play, you're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Oh, hey. She's cute. Nice going, man. Things are going great for you. You've earned a night out. Good drinks, good friends. Yeah, we can go ahead and call this a good night. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Not smart. Yeah, I saw that coming. Say goodbye to her. Ouch, that'll hurt your bank account. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. I hope you like eating frozen dinners. Alone. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.